block attributes. I was planning on doing a test review tomorrow and then a test on Friday. I think some of you are pretty much all caught up. Is that the case? But some of you also aren't. I'm willing to do the test review this afternoon, and if you're all caught up, you can have tomorrow off and then do the test on Friday. And you can use, those of you that aren't caught up can use tomorrow as catch-up day. Is that how you folks would like to work it? Sure. And I kind of bring it up because I know, like, Lisa, you're traveling a little bit. If I did the test review today, you wouldn't have to come in just for that tomorrow.
Great.
What do you folks think? Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll do a test review around 11 o'clock. And then if you're all caught up, just be here Friday morning for the test, and we'll be done with this one and start on Monday with our last course of the year, structural. Yes, Gabe?
Are we going to have anything on Friday after the test?
No, that'll just be to finish up all your assignments and get ready to go.
How long should the test take?
Gabe wants to take the test this afternoon.
Yeah.
Not the test review,
I don't
take the
think so.
test.
I want to tell friends.
What's that?
Huh?
What's
Oh, I
that?
was just curious.
We'll pay you for the answers, yeah, do it.
Yeah, if you want to take the test this afternoon, I can arrange that too. I would ask that if you take the test this afternoon, we're going to wait till everybody else leaves. So we'll take it at 2:30. The test doesn't take a huge amount of time. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't, depending on how well you know stuff. Okay. All right, is that an okay schedule?
Yes, sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, what we're going to do today is chapter 25, attribute extraction. Now, attributes, the author really kind of just gives you enough to make you dangerous, but he kind of points out how attributes are worked. Think of like that drawing set we have on the back table that is of this building. How do we know what that building is going to cost? Do we have to wait for a contractor to give us that information? That's my question. So we finish the drawings. Client wants to know, what's this thing going to cost me? We've done a generic cost, but we really don't know till the drawing set's done. How do we know what the building's going to cost?
For materials, right?
Bill of materials. Yeah, doesn't change. We physically call that in the mechanical field, we do a bill of materials. But we do a parts list in every discipline. We know what a building is going to cost, give or take, before we ever hand it to a contractor. Because we need to protect our clients. We're not just going to hand it to a contractor and they come back and throw us back a cost and we live with it. Because we don't. Many times we take the lowest bid, many times we say, I can't do the project right now, we're going to wait till the construction climate changes and costs come down, whatever the case. We have a process called the means bidding process that's established. It's a bunch of books that says average cost for this is this over the nation or in the Northwest. And we use those. But to do that, somebody's got to sit and go through that drawing and count up every single window. Say, I've got this window, I'm making a list. I've got this many 3x5s, they're horizontal sliders, UV glass. Somebody's got to count up and figure out how much carpet we have, how much paint we're using. Block attributes are really to eliminate the process of going through a drawing set and figuring it all out. In essence, what we use is we use blocks for our fixtures, and then we can just extract all that data at the end because it's got the shape sitting in the drawing. And if we can attach information to it, we should be able to, with the computer, pull that information out into a table form, and it eliminates error because now I don't have to go through every single sheet, double count something, miss something, whatever the case might be, right?
Does that also pull in the scripts, like if you have the door as a script?
If the script has blocks to it. Okay, it's a little bit different situation where a script would draw it, and you could actually have the script make the block and put the attributes on it. You can have it do that. Certainly you can do that. Yes,
So how's it gonna count for the walls and the lumber and stuff, because that's not a block?
can be. Yeah. You can have walls done with 8-foot blocks or so, and I know an 8-foot block has this much 2x4 on it, this much drywall on it, whatever the case might be. They're all kind of standard.
And
I
that's how
can't-
architects do it?
A lot of them, yeah, that's the whole push for these BIM modelers like ArchiCAD, Revit, SolidWorks, because they do all that for you, right? When you draw in Revit, you're drawing a wall unit, and then you can extract that information at the end, and it says, hey, you got this many linear feet of this wall.
So it puts all, every 16 LC and whatever, you
Mhm.
draw what wall in Revit and
Yep.
it tells you how many, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's how these lumber companies do it. I mean, they just take a wall and go the length of it, and I know how much wood it takes me for this many feet of wall. Right? But you can come to a very close cost. The point being, how do we get rid of the human error in the problem? And that's block attributes. Now, it works really well for some disciplines. It doesn't work that well for architecture because, like you mentioned, the walls, concrete, stuff like that, that's still a volume calculation. But think of electrical, where you're doing electrical and all you've got is fixtures, like outlets, switches, that kind of stuff. Think of the plumbing industry, where we have set standard pipes, fittings, things of that nature. Can I block all those fittings and then extract them out and tell me, hey, I need 45 degree elbows of cast iron, schedule 40, 2-inch pipe? Yeah, I can do all that. But when the ones that are block heavy with fixtures, this works great for. Some of the disciplines, it doesn't work that great for. But with that, it's in use pretty much throughout industry in some form or fashion. Now, the author also talked about that title block situation at the end when you look through it. You're going to have a lot of companies that use their title blocks with block attributes, where you insert a title block, and then it has attributes attached to it, and it starts querying you. What's the date? What's the drawing name? And you just type it in, and it fills out the title block. I'm not going to go to there. I'm going to focus on extracting from blocks. That way you can see the whole process. Okay?
Can blocks be 3D?
Yes, blocks can be 3D. They can actually, and we haven't gone to there, you do have a section, chapter 26, which is parametric blocks, where you're able to actually take a block like a window,
Yeah.
have it, put it in, and then have it query you what's the length, and then it alters the shape of the block to match what those are. Okay. Now, it doesn't work real well. It's not really being used in industry because it takes too long to set up, when we can just do a symbol and walk away from it. Okay. So it's never really caught on, but it's been around for about a decade, parametric blocks in AutoCAD. So with that said, that's really what you're trying to do here, is to get stuff in your drawing with information attached so that we can extract it out and not have to go to the drawing set and count every single one and make sure we're good. Right? That's in essence what we're going to try and do here. So let's go to any questions before we move on. I wonder if I need to wait for Sean. He's stepped out. Well, let's get started. First, go ahead and open an architectural template, if you would. Okay, 'cause we're going to work in architectural units in the architectural field for this. What I would like you to do here, well, I'll wait till everybody gets started. I'll just draw it on the board. In your architectural template, draw two symbols. I want you to draw a window symbol, and I want you to draw a door symbol. Yeah, we just want door symbol.
Size.
Yeah, and we're gonna make everything fit in a 6-inch wall. Okay, so like an exterior wall. Because that's really where most of our windows and doors kind of go into. Let's make them both 3 feet. Six inches. So if you would draw these two symbols.
you want this on the 0 layer?
You can put them on your doors and windows layer or the 0 layer if you want, whatever you feel like you want to do there.
Do you want the dimensions also?
Nope, no dimensions, just the geometry. Okay, I don't see many people still drawing. Has everybody got these two shapes? Okay. All right, so we have these. Now, in essence, what we're going to do here is we're going to make some blocks for doors and windows, and we're going to attach some information to them. Now, in essence, for us to make this a block, we need to make the block when we have the information next to it. So as you went through the chapter, they covered pretty much how to do all of this. There's a bunch of commands in the first page. But the ATT series of commands, all of them start for attribute, ATT. And then you have attribute define, attribute visible, extract, edit, all these different things for working with these guys. So what we need to do is we need to actually add the attribute before we make the block. Now, just so you can kind of see this, here's the attributes we're going to add to these two. Okay, let me kind of blow this up. And I'll show these to you here in a second once we walk through one. So for the windows, right here, we're going to do a manufacturer. We're going to attach the information of the manufacturer. We're going to do the width, the height. We're going to do what kind of frame it is. We're going to do what type of glass it is, and the cost. So in essence, we went to Andersen Windows or Pella Windows, and we called them and said, hey, what's this size of window cost? So we're going to do that. When we do the door, we're going to do the same thing, manufacturer, width, height. This one we're going to add swing, and then the cost. So these are the types of information we can add. And we can put it whatever we wish here. We could just attach cost if that's all we are interested in, whatever we need. Okay. I'll put this back up here in just a second. But I'm going to go back to the computer and let's go ahead and attach some attributes. Okay. So let's start with the window. So the first one's gonna be the manufacturer. So I just go to my Windows symbol, right here. Now it's just geometry, right? Type in the attribute define command, ATTDEF. And you get this little dialog box that pops up. Now, there's a couple things in this box before we fill it out that I want to kind of point out. Over here on the left is how this is going to work, whether you want to see it, whether you want it to prompt you for it, all of this stuff. I would recommend you kind of just take the presets here. As a general rule, we don't want to see them, so we take them invisible, but we can turn that off with attribute display. So we'll just leave all this alone for now. The one thing I'd say you don't really want to do is the verify one. Okay. The verify, you may need it, but in essence, when you insert the block with the verify, it's going to run you through every prompt and make you fill them all out. And many times your blocks are pretty standard. You don't need to change any of the information, right? Okay. So that's the only one I'd say to kind of be careful of. When you're over in this section, this is the important section. The tag is what you're going to search by. Okay. So that's going to be, in essence, how we grab information. The prompt usually is the same as the tag, but that's what you would see at the screen when you say, hey, what is this? And then the default down here, this is the value that we're going to put in. Right? And we'll start with just putting in a standard value that most of them are going to be, and then we edit each one individually after that. You just want to use your text style. I think everything else is good. Now, one thing down on the bottom, you see this little grayed out box, align below previous? That will pop up when you do your second one and you're able to choose it. And that keeps your attributes kind of organized. Now that's with a block. If I'm doing a title block where I've got my stuff down in my title, I don't want to lock those in a row. Okay. But that's going to be a nice little spot for us. So let's put the first one in. This is manufacturer. So I'm just going to type in on the tag MNF. And on the prompt, we're going to put the same thing, MNF. So over on the right where it says attributes, put MNF for the first two, tag and prompt.
Does it being capital matter at all?
Nope, doesn't matter a bit. It's not case sensitive. At least to the best of my knowledge. For the default value, let's go ahead and put some distributor in there that you like to buy windows from. You want to buy from an Idaho company, Western. If you want to just buy from some of your other ones like Anderson or Pella or whatever, Milgard, all these window manufacturers. I'm just going to put my favorite windows. I'll put Pella. But you can put whatever you wish, whoever you're buying it from. Okay, once you've got that filled out, go ahead and say OK. And you're going to see your text pop up and just place it next to your block somewhere on the right side. Now, your text that's displayed here is annotative. So if yours is very, very small, exit back out and set your annotation scale to 1/4 inch before you do it. Set your annotation scale to 1/4 inch to 1 foot before you do it.
So just go back in there and redo it?
Yeah. These can be on any layer you wish them to be. I'm going to do mine on the 0 layer because it's going to be a block. That way, whenever I insert it, it will take over the properties of whatever layer it goes onto. All right, everybody get the first one.
Wait, what size?
I don't have a letter.
Architectural in one? Like for the text size? Because mine's coming out like, not right.
Really small.
No, it's coming out like I've changed the scale, and then when I put on there, it's like, even though it says it's an architectural So I'm just gonna, so you just look for something.
Yeah, you should have your textile arch one. Or CSI one, or whatever
Just look at
textile you want.
How it's not, like,
So do I have to, do I have to
it's just
grab
like
this
a-
first? Mine doesn't touch.
Go ahead and place it on, stop, look at your stop.
Yeah, right.
Arch one.
Oh, we're using 2020, which, oh, by the way, those of you using 2020,
Uh-huh.
we don't have that artstyle.shx loaded in its fonts directory.
Oh,
Okay, so it'll probably pop off with a different
Oh,
font.
that's why.
okay.
Yeah, because remember, I don't know if you remember way back when we had to install that in 19 in the fonts directory.
We don't have that in between.
So that's why
Yeah.
it's not showing up, they don't have it arched.
Right. Well, it still show what kind of textiles you got there. Yeah, just choose Arch one. Yeah, go ahead and hit okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and place it.
Oh, you have to do it. How do
Go back into it then. Looks like nothing happened.
Right. I've been with it some time now. Yeah.
Yep. Tuesday makes sense.
Means Arch Street, Orange Street.
Yeah.
That's weird. Make a quick textile like CSI one and try that.
Okay.
Use Simplex.
Mine's just one of those regular.
See, yours
So
are
do I have to go
style
and load
ones.
that?
Can't believe we're having all these problems on it. Say what?